Got a feed that decides life and death. Every chart is a mountain, a meme, a decree. Is this genius or mass lunacy? Stroll with me down this wild mentality, where a frog with sunglasses screams we're early endlessly. Oh, we'll see bulls and bears and fantasy. Every post's a prophecy.
It's nothing make-believe.
If you want to read what passes for a master plan, simply click and flick your thumb across this broken land. Want to know which way the winds of crypto might just be? Oh, scroll with me. One says up, only friends. Next says this is how it ends. Someone's calling the top, someone's buying the dip, someone's typing a thread as their last relationship slips. Scroll with me through the fear and ecstasy, where a chart in crayon gets 1,000 hearts for free. We'll see every hot take, every plea. I was right in 23.
Trust the vibes, ignore the spreadsheet.
If you want to gauge if hope or panic's in command, if they're building castles or just castles in the sand, want to test if we're all early or just fantasy? Scroll with me. Is it signal? Is it noise? Are we traders? Are we toys? Every candle, every coin is a cult you can join. Scroll with me, let the chaos be our key. Read the mood like it's a map to some great mystery. You'll see faith and doubt and harmony. I'm all into, I'm set free.
In one day and one same tweet.
If you want to know if folks are brave or out of time, if they're quietly convicted or have simply lost their minds, then my friend, you found the perfect place to start this stream. So scroll with me.
Da-da. G-Scroll. G-Scroll to all who celebrate. On this fine day, it is Tuesday, April 28th. We've got Yori and Frey in the chat, G-Scrolling, and a G-Scroll to you, good sirs. A little tip of the fedora to ya. Good morning, good morning. It is Tuesday, April 28th. My name is Dude Lifts. This is Scroll With Me. This is where we lock in. You know? This is where we lock in. We clock in, we lock in. Depending on which coast you're up on, you could be clocking in, or you could be on lunch. You could be taking an early lunch. You never know. You never know. But like I said, my name is Dude Lifts. This is Scroll With Me. This is where we scroll crypto Twitter together. We try to understand the vibes. We try to separate the true from the false. We try to, cast a judgment upon those who. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a vibe check. It's a vibe check, but it's also group therapy, because if you've been around for a while, you get it. You know what I mean? I don't know if I need to say any more than that, to be fair. But alas, we started a couple of minutes late because your boy was like, I need to shave this morning. And that's what happens. So, when you get that Korean skincare routine, the things start to pile up. Monty says, let's guess the vibe before we start the scroll. Yeah, let's call our shot. Let's Babe Ruth. You know what I mean? Just be like, yo. Okay, so if I had to guess the vibes, let me just ingest the spiritual vibes. I mean, I think vibes are up. I think so. We had a massive couple of DeFi hacks, but then we have DeFi United come back. People are donating money. That's like we're rallying around something, which I actually think is interesting in the sense that like the industry was self-policing in that way. Like we bailed ourselves out in a way. I don't know the exact status of it, but that's the energy. And then we got prices pumping a little bit. Frey says it's a mega ETH vibe today. Yeah, TGE is super close. The apps are launching and live. I did see Euphoria is launching on mainnet Ethereum. So it's like, it's this weird thing. It's like there is a lot of energy around the Mega ETH ecosystem while you have some apps kind of jumping ship, or at least maybe going multi-chain. I don't know the entire story, which is interesting. But I will say that people have something to believe in. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say the vibes are on the up. I'm not going to say up or like mania, but there is signs of life. And that's what matters. That's what matters. People need something to believe in. Let's confirm that. Let's confirm. First, second tweet of the day, hearing rumors about a new bullish season starting May 1st. Oh, that's for the bullish thing. Okay, we don't care. Okay, we get the block here. Lucanets, everything human becomes more valuable as everything else gets commoditized. Yeah. I mean, I generally agree. I've been saying this. I've been tweeting it. I've been retweeting it. I tweeted it in 2023. I was saying that, I said literally, and I retweeted this a couple of days ago. I think in 2023, my theory was, okay, so if AI agents are running all of our lives, then in their negotiate, let's say, for example, they negotiate a deal. They say, you have a service, I have a service, you have a skill, you have a skill. Let's cut a deal. Our agents negotiate. But then for some reason, before we sign the dotted line, maybe we have to fly out to each other and look each other in the eyes. Like in a weird way, the Mad Men kind of like premium on humanness becomes like, that's the final stopgap, right? Is like, we have our agents, they're doing everything. But like right before the critical choice gets made, we have to kind of interject that human in because of deepfakes, because of things like that. I think that probably will likely have to be face-to-face. And you have to pass the vibe check is ultimately what it comes down to. And it always has, if we're being honest with ourselves. So, and I've been talking about this a lot too. I've been saying that as AI starts to kind of proliferate and reduce the cost of production of entertainment, art, whatever you want to call it, there's going to be a big swing to craft, and artisanal goods. And I can only say that anecdotally from my own experience, because I'm like deep in the AI trenches. I found myself, just as kind of an aside, like consuming or buying less stuff, but really placing a really, really high emphasis on quality. I've always generally placed an emphasis on quality. I want to know the story behind the brand. I want to know all this stuff. But now it's like to the point where like I just got I bought a couple pairs of shoes from this shoemaker in LA called Shop Goods and Services. They had some great stuff they were doing. But I got to talking to the guy over Instagram, and it got to the point where I decided that I wanted to make a custom pair of shoes, which he doesn't really even totally do, but we talked and he was into the idea. And so it's like, that process took like 6 fucking months, but like I was into it, and I really didn't buy that many other shoes during that time because I was so kind of enthralled with this process. And so I think that's to me the that kind of, I don't know, what do you want to call it, barbell fucking Gaussian curve, fucking diffusion curve, whatever. But I think that let's say if we're thinking about it like in a kind of bell curve kind of way, maybe AI takes the middle, the large middle, and then at the very end is a left and right curve, and that's probably where we'll end up. And I'll get off my soapbox. All good. Building a business in the AI-driven world. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. All right, Jay Hines here says, I'll be in SF for sessions this week. If you want to talk about the fun, Dentacoin, Trojan horse in crypto values for financials. Gosh, I want to go to Stripe session so bad. Wait, what the fuck is this? What, we can just plug a Mac Mini into our Tesla? Wait, seriously? Is that real? That's crazy. Okay. Free Noggles. Dude, the Nouns community. Love that. Love that. Oh my gosh. Oh, my Shayla. Got to talk about this. Got to talk about this. Speaking of vibes. So I was feeling the vibes. I was feeling the energy in the air. I saw this guy, ZG Hire, was doing a pre-sale. He was doing the experiment, not like other pre-sales. Okay. But he was doing a pre-sale, and he was saying that he was going to take all the pre-sale funds and then stake them into Printer, which earns trading fees. And I was like, that's interesting. Haven't seen anything like this before. I'll send some money this way. Turns out, ZG Hire, I'm not going to speak ill of the man, but he might have not had the fortitude, to do what needed to be done. And so he might have rugged. Okay, so he rugged, all good. It happens. I threw some money at a pre-sale in the year of our Lord 2026 and got rugged. It happens. But this is what I think is interesting is so he was saying like he was like, oh, because of my participation in my own pre-sale, yada yada yada, I earned so much printer points for the new printer TGE and the token. So then Master Printer, the lead of the Launchpad, goes like, well, since you rugged, we're redistributing all of those points to the pre-sale participants. Yes. That's all I have to say. And so will we get our bag in the end of it? Maybe. But do we get our emotional bag? Yes. So we're excited about this. Okay, interesting. Okay, so apparently this is what Drew Fallon has been saying. And this is also what I've been saying. You check your Apple Watch in the morning, sleep score 62. You decide it's going to be a foggy day, and then it is. So this is essentially, and this has kind of been making the rounds a little bit. This has been saying that, it's been purporting that maybe this kind of measuring everything we do all the time and reporting it directly back to us is not the best thing. Because there's this thing that occurs, I might talk about this in the paper, I'm not sure, called biofeedback, which essentially it's like when you, for example, let's say you go to the hospital and they hook you up to the blood oxygen and the little heart monitor, it's like beep, 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 and you see your heart beating like, and then you go, my heart beating kind of fast. And it starts to be a little faster. And then it ends up being this like feedback loop. And you're like, good. And so that can happen with brain waves too. There's something called neurofeedback. And so the general idea is like you wake up and for some reason, maybe your wearable device, which aren't all that accurate, to be fair, says, oh, you slept bad. And you go, I wasn't sure. I kind of felt a little weird, but like, you know what, now that I did sleep bad, I slept poor, and my recovery is low. I better take it easy in the gym today because it's saying that I need to recover. And it's like, we don't have a lot of evidence that any of that is real. And so, and I say this in the sense of I've been feeling this kind of with the AI stuff, but your boy is analog. Is this a Royal Oak? Nope. It's a G-Shock. But in the sense that like I've made a concerted effort to kind of go analog because the reality is like you're better off kind of practicing traditional sleep hygiene, trying your best day over day, exercising consistently without fluctuating or modulating your effort based on any kind of feedback. And so the basic theory is the over optimization of man is probably a bad thing. Now, the collection of this data isn't necessarily a terrible thing. This is where it gets kind of funky. It's almost like if it got sent to a doctor or some outside health professional that could make objective kind of decisions and observations based on consistent health data, that would be interesting. But a lot of people aren't interested in that. They want to make their own choices. So alas. Yo, the Bored Ape, dude, the Bored Apes are out. Oh my God, that's so crazy. That's so funny. Oh yeah, dude, so good to see Parallel AI Rev in the chat again, honestly. I downloaded the Parallel mobile game. I've never played enough of the game to know the mechanics that well. And I got to get my old cards like connected to it, but it's really top tier. Like I played like a preview match and it was a lot of fun and the quality is great. Oh my gosh, we got Reels reposting the stream, things we want to see, the official DJ of funerals everywhere. All right, let's see what Andrew Forte has to say. It says, this is one of the best posts on CT. Reply guys engage with you because they want your attention and clout. Enterprise cares less about CT and more about traditional B2B background. Reply guys realize they won't share your attention or partnerships and stop supporting. Okay, let's see this. Let's read the best tweet on CT. Some people here will get offended by this, but it needs to be said, to be honest. The reply spam is one of the most worthless, low IQ, brain rot, hopium traps I've ever seen in this app. You're not building respect. You're not building a skill. You're not building leverage. You're just renting attention with another reply circle and calling it growth. Baby, I don't know. I don't know enough about the reply guy game. And I've probably, quote unquote, been a reply guy at some point or another, but it's just because I liked the person's content and liked commenting on their stuff. We've got Warner in the chat here saying, catching scrolled me right before a flight. Things you love to see. And Warner is dressed up head to toe in that Doodles McDonald's sweatsuit, of course. Probably hitting the Delta Sky Lounge. Things we love to see. Let's see here. Yeah, and this is something, and I'm like, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum, and because maybe there's financial opportunity, in reply guying just under certain scenarios like Infofy or whatever. And so I'm like, hey, get your bag. But I do have this aversion, and maybe this is like I did it before it was cool, like kind of thing. But whenever somebody kind of essentially productizes or like mechanizes a thing, like you must reply 200 times a day, and you must do it to accounts at least 3 seconds after their initial post, because then your reply will be boosted. I'm like, that's kind of what I get. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I think often I found, even if you're like, I want to, play the algorithm like a fiddle, you're better off using the app in the way that it was intended to be used, right? It's like typically algorithms reward kind of organic behaviors they're trying to drive. So it's like maybe do a little more of that if you're really keen on doing whatever it is the hell you're keen on doing. But just have fun here, and typically you'll experience better results. That's been my experience. We got Brett here. Speaking of Mega ETH, he says, a little splainer on terminal. Yep. No idea what that is. So, hey, but we love Bread Guy. And so whatever it is, it's probably good. It's probably good. Let's see. We got Quit here, says, if Basie SalesBot is called Yacht Club Sales, what the fuck would Macy SalesBot be called? Oh. Yacht Club Sales. Just put it in the bag. Yep. Put it in the bag. Oh, AJ Vaynerchuk here says, we're hiring an apprentice. Oh, at Vayner Sports. Needs to be someone who's comfortable playing around in things like Claude, Zapier. Zapier, I haven't heard that name in a while. You don't need to be a developer. Think sports data, automation, internal systems. Yeah, they're trying to get that bag from sports betting, Let's see here. We got Jonah here, says, this game is going to make millionaires easy. If you're thinking of building on Roblox or Fortnite and want to make money, or just waiting for GTA 6, think you should be watching SNBox. Dude, I've heard about this. I'm not deep in this thing, but apparently the skins kind of marketplace is huge here. So yeah, if you're a gamer, and especially one who's trying to make a Bagusi, might be worth checking out. I've heard nothing but good things. Here we go. Sport just found its home on Base. Okay. Chili's are coming to Base, bringing their global community of sports fans and fan tokens that include Man City, FC Barcelona, Juventus, and many other world-class sports brands right in time for the World Cup. I mean, Base, let's be honest with each other. Base, take a seat. Let's have a chat. Sport just found its home on Base. I mean, let's be real here. So we've got Candy Digital, which just ported over to Solana. So that's sports. Then you've got, Dapper Labs with NBA Top Shot, NFL All Day, just a few. Then you got Panini on main entity. So Base, I get it. You're writing the tweet. You want to make it feel final, Bray said basis for sports. Yes, that's all I need to say. That. Yes, things you love to see. I get it. I've written these tweets before. I get it. You want to be final. You want to seem like it's fucking the biggest deal. So I get it. All right. Let's see. Loki says, I underestimated Fug's Official and the impact of its migration to ETH. 2 weeks later, they've doubled the floor price and successfully migrated a record 80% of NFTs. That is a strong signal for ETH collectors, but even stronger one for emerging IPs backed by great. Not going to read anymore. This is still something I haven't wrapped my head around. I think I was actually talking with Warner about it, maybe on a space or in the chat. But I don't know. So to me, OpenSea has abstracted the collecting experience almost ad infinitum. I wouldn't know my ass from my elbow what coin I'm spending to buy an NFT on OpenSea. Because you just click the NFT if it's, unfeatured or whatever. And then you click in and you click buy. And it goes would you like to use this token? It's just a token. I don't even know how they decide which one. That's in your wallet. Uses Relay to swap it on the back end. And then Bob's your uncle. And then it appears in your profile view along with NFTs of other chains. So I don't know if it's like if it's traders saying like, hey, we trust mainnet ETH is going to be around for longer, and so there's like a trust factor there. I've heard the arguments of like, oh, it's a cultural thing, like Solana, they sell quicker and yada yada yada. Maybe that's real. I don't know. Maybe I'm approaching it too much like a product thing or whatever, as opposed to the vibes. So something that I just don't know if this take holds long term. But that's my opinion, and I hold it loosely as I do almost all of my opinions. All right, here we go. Blake, the Smoke Monster LA. What a tag. People have always collected things. Now they're doing it online where they always spend their time, and it continues to increase year over year. Digital collectibles aren't going anywhere. Find the art, communities, and teams you fuck with. Simple as that. Dude. Yes. Dude, simple as that. I think, I'm trying to make my way to D23, the fan conference for Disney again this year. I went a couple years ago with Dapper Labs. They had a Pinnacle booth there. That was such a good experience as someone working in crypto and NFTs, just to interface with people who interface with normal humans, but genuinely. So we had our booth there. We were giving away free pins. And inevitably people be like, oh, because it was a D23 exclusive. So there's a little sign outside the booth. People who go to D23, they'll just go to anything that's a D23 exclusive because usually they're valuable or scarce or whatever, or they're just into it. So they saw it and they was like, they got in line, didn't even ask any questions. And they're like, oh, what is this? Like after they're online, they're like, what's going on here? And then we talk about them and like, oh, they're digital pins. They're like, digital. How's a pin digital? Be like, oh, it's on your phone. And I talked through a couple people, and I remember I straight up converted this guy, and he was like grilling me about it. And he clearly maybe had been around NFTs, but he was like playing coy about it. He's like, okay, so what happens if the network goes down? What happens to this? What are the licensing rights? I was like, okay, my man is deep in the collectibles ecosystem. But we were talking, he's like, and what's the point of having it, digitally, whatever? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I've met a bunch of pin collectors. My wife and I collect pins, not even as heavy as some, but like, do we have all of our pins on display? No. Some people have straight up hefty containers full of pins in their closet that will never see the light of day. And so it's like, what do you have on you all the time? Your phone. So it's like, and so it's like, oh, and where are all your pictures that you take all the time? They're on your phone. And those pictures don't seem any less real because they're on your phone. That's where you keep your pictures these days. You know what I mean? Like, and so, these pins are on your phone. And people were like, oh, I guess that makes sense. They're like, oh, so I could have literally thousands of pins in my pocket. Like, yep. And they got it. They were like, oh, okay, great. Sounds cool. And I remember we were actually doing some pin trading in Disneyland. And this is a really cool experience for me because I'm fairly confident I was maybe the first person ever to do digital pin trading at the pin trading tables in Disneyland. And this kid came up, and I know this sounds like I'm making it up, but I'm really not. The kid comes up, we were displaying, I had an iPad in a backpack with a clear plastic screen through it, and it was just showing off some of the pins, kind of to display them. And this kid came up, he goes like, oh my gosh, those are so cool. He's like, how do I get some? I'm like, oh, you do it on your phone. He goes like, oh, okay. And I just use my credit card. And I was like, yep. He's like, and I can just buy more and they're on my phone. I'm like, yep. He's like, and I can show them off on my phone like this. I was like, yep. He's like, oh, great. And he was just like, and this is a kid who probably grew up buying Fortnite skins. He just understood it intuitively what digital pins were all about. So big agree with Smoke Monster LA out here, but it is 9 a.m. So let's wrap it up. Let's call the vibes. Dude, I didn't see too much. We didn't scroll too much because I was busy yapping. That's on me. That's on me. But I do feel like the vibes that we called at the beginning, they're on the up and up. We're on the rise. Signs of life. If, whatever doesn't go well in the immediate future, let's not worry about it. It's not all dependent on one thing. Just trust. But yeah, I'll be excited to be in Consensus Miami and go to Accelerate. And hopefully I'll see you all down there. And until next time, which will be tomorrow, I'll see you on the timeline.